How do you paint detailed grass in watercolour? Well, this is just one way of doing so. So today I'm going to show you how to do it this way by adding that little bit more detail. Let's get the brushes wet and let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is wet the background with a large mop brush, or large-ish. The one I'm using today is a size 8. And make sure you wet it fairly thoroughly. Allow it to soak into the paper as well. And I'd probably wet it a couple of times, just to give you a little bit more working time. Okay, that's soaked in quite well. I'm going to get some of my colour now. Now this one, out of interest, is phthalo blue, Payne's grey and mauve. I'm going to fully load my brush up like that. I'll start from the top and then work my way down without reloading that brush. I know I probably made too much of that paint up over time, but I can use it for another paint another day. All the way down like that, and that's picking up the water on the paper as we do this. Okay, so again, lighter and lighter all the time, like so. So it's really pale at the bottom. Then what you can do, work your way back up again, just to blend it a little bit more. Like that. There we go. And that should soften as it dries as well. And that is a very simple graduated wash. Let's switch to a slightly smaller brush. This one is a size 8. I'm going to get some of our olive green. Just put this in as a background really for now. I think I'll have my grass blades going that way, over to the left, like a bit of a curve. And I want this to fade as it dries as well, so you need to put this into the damp paper, not soaking wet paper though. Overlap the lines as you do so. And increase the amount of colour down the bottom as well. And make some of these longer than others. And interspersed with that, we can get a small amount of burnt sienna and add that in as well. Not too strong though, all these colours are more to a watery consistency. Just here and there, that's all you need, look. And that should do. Now we've got to give this a dry, and once it's nice and dry, we can then start to add some details over the top. But first things first, I want to lightly mop down the edges of my masking tape. It's a very clear masking tape I'm using today. Very lightly, just tidy it up a little bit. Just makes it easier on your hands, doesn't it? It also looks a little bit neater as well. Okay, now it's all dry. Get some clean kitchen roll, nicely folded up like that, and a lifting off brush. Now if you haven't got something like this for lifting off paint, what you can use is a stiff bristled brush, or you can make your own. That's another one you can buy. This one, by the way, is by Rosemary & Co. and it's called the Eradicator. That's a small version. This is a homemade one, which works really, really well. I have got a video on how I make some of my own brushes. So this one, and also another special brush I use, which is that one there. And they look very tatty, don't they? But they work really, really well. I know. I'm going to show you this one today. This is one you can buy, as I said. And we're going to use that to lift off some paint. Okay, here we go. Load it with water and then give it a light tap. And then what we need to do is start to create shapes of, well, grass blades really. So you can see what I'm doing here. As long as it's not too overloaded with water, it'll be fine. We need a little bit of water on there for it to work. So first of all, you're lifting like that, as you can see. Then with your kitchen roll, just very lightly dab it. You can see how much I've pulled off there, and that's a grass blade already created. And what we can do, we can paint this in and kind of touch it up as much as you want to once it's nice and dry. So you want to do that for the rest of the painting now. Create lots and lots of grass blades as you work your way around. Or in some cases, you don't need many at all. It's entirely your choice, of course. Vary the thickness, vary the length, vary the curve. Overlap them as well. So if I overlap one here, look, I'm going to just start the line like that and overlap it. I'm going to widen this then towards the bottom part of the grass blade. Like that. And then give it a light tap like that. And then we have another one. It's a very easy way of creating grass blades, it really is, isn't it? Okay, let's do a few more now. Varying the width, varying the direction, overlapping in places. Remember, you want to create more of a plane of distance as well. So occasionally you want some very fine ones, little thin ones like this. That's it, nice and faint like that. So it's not too defined. So don't be too particular with it. If you want a really fine line, what you need to do is take off most of the water like so. Then, if I do a fine one down here, so hardly any water on this brush now though. Remember I'm curving these as well. And there you go. It's a very fine line. If you want a wider line, don't take as much water off that brush. Any stiff bristle brush will work as long as it's small and a chiseled edge. So if you've got brushes which you use for acrylic painting, which are flat brushes, there's a good chance they will work just as well. And I'll also lift off some larger ones as well as I go along. Okay, let's do a few more now. Right, we've finally got the lifting off process done, which is lovely. Okay, now we're going to start creating grass blades. To do that, I'm going to go for a size 2 brush. Got a good point on this one. Okay, this particular one, just out of interest, is a Rosemary & Co. XP Series 366. And we can start working with our colours. Yeah, let's do this. Now, we do need to vary the length and the shape of the grasses, of course we do. And also how deep those colours are. So I'm going to water this colour down a little bit more first of all. This is olive green, okay. And we can use that to start creating some of these shapes we can see. So it's going to go over the outline initially of a single grass blade like that. To see where it goes. But when you've got the grass blades going over the top or underneath it, you have to decide then which way you want it to go. Do you want that grass blade to go underneath that one, then over the top of the next one? So for example, this one here, got a grass blade just there coming across that way. So there's one going that way, as you can see. And very lightly, with the very tip of the brush, there's a lot of berries going on here. Just go over the top of that. And I might have this one then going over the top of the next one. So we've got one coming down underneath there. So I'm going to have that one overlapping that one then. So basically what you're doing is knitting them together. Yeah. And that's going to go underneath that large one there as well. Just by creating this shape. I'm going to show you how to do a couple of these. So create a little shape like that so you know where that blade goes. Very lightly. And then intertwine it with the other blades as well. Overlap them. Something like that. Okay, once you've got those in, what you need to then do, soften down the inside of that grass blade. Just the one will do for now. Grab some more yellow, pop that in to brighten that one blade up. That's all I'm doing. Soften it down, pop a little bit of yellow in there, and also a little bit of green as well. So we've got a bit of yellow, like that. Grab some raw olive green, pop that in as well. That's just the basic wash inside that one grass blade. And they do vary, these grass blades, don't they? When you look at the photograph I'm showing you here, this is one, by the way, by a cracking photographer by the name of Kevin Evans Jones. And the bird in this photograph is a stone chat. But the beauty about working with grass blades like this here is that you can make them as big as you want, and then you can use that as a stand for, like in the photograph, a bird. Or anything, a dragonfly, you name it. Okay, within reason, of course, not an elephant. No, forget that. I'm also going to put a little bit of burnt sienna into there as well. Just to change the shape slightly. I want a bit more of a rounded shape to this grass blade. Some are flat, some are round. It's entirely up to you how you paint them, of course. And that's one blade just about done. I've got a few more to do now, as you can see. I'm going to carry on and do a few more. I'll come back to you in a minute. And then I'll show you how to fine tune quite a few of those grass blades and to make them really stand out as well. Now once a particular area is dry, all you need to do, go out to your olive green, very lightly load your brush, so don't overload it. Just a very tip like that. Okay, got a nice point on that tip. Then what you can do is add some very fine details in between. Okay. So what I can do, barely touching the paper, and I mean barely touching it, with the very tip of the brush, add some very fine lines towards the middle. You might want to just add a slightly duller colour. Let's get some more blue and some more green. Blue and green, duller colour like that. But take most of that paint off that brush. So there's hardly anything on there. So use that to add that duller blue line on there and skip that line as you paint it down. Add some lines, add some texture. to those grass blades. Like that. There you go. Now, you need some darker areas as well, don't you? Because some of the areas are very, I don't know, a bit too samey. So what you can do, you can go over the same area again. Say one side. So we're going to imagine that the sun is coming from the top left. So sort of that direction, really. And you can see that already has given more of a shape to those two individual grass blades, isn't it? And at the end of this, I'll show you a little tip on how to add highlights to the grass. So let me do the rest of these. I'll come back to you in a minute, okay? And then, if I get some watercolour white or opaque white, and this is watercolour, it's not gouache or anything like that, even though you can use gouache instead, perfectly acceptable. Now I do use white quite a lot in my paints, I really do. And if you're interested in working out how to use white paint within a watercolour, have a look at the link to the top right hand corner of the screen, okay? Give us some general idea on how that's done. Here we go. Alright. So all we're going to do is add a few little highlights here and there. That's all I need to do that. So let's say the stem here. Just a few hints of white. Skipping as I add it on as well. Onto the lighter side. Remember the light is coming from that side. So that's the side. You really want a few little highlights here and there dotted around onto those grass blades. Every now and then, and don't overdo it either, just put a few here and there. Just to make it stand out. Just add a little bit more anyway. And obviously you can get even more detailed with this, as much detail as you want really. A few more on that one there. Just touching and tapping, skipping all the time with the brush. Barely touching the paper. That's all I'm doing. Then all we need to do is add a few extra contrasting colours in there as well. But this is just one way to paint grass. There's many other ways as well. And you can make it as neat as you want to, so you can get the fine detail brushes and add even finer lines within each individual grass blade. How about learning some other techniques all to do with watercolour? I'll pop a link to the top right hand corner of the screen for you. That one just up there, look. I'll see you there.